Right, 'tis the season of congested fixtures. So instead of passing out through some of the games, I wanted to talk about, although Danny didn't want to, conversation killer. Now, I've had a great sense of this stuff, and you know me, like I know a lot of football. You guys know this, history, human encyclopedia of football. But for me, I'm getting this feeling, more of a feeling about this season or a general sense. I'm really enjoying this season. I was watching, I can't remember which game I was watching last week. I think it was some random game. And I was like, no, actually, it was the Arsenal Man United one, and we obviously lost.
Just a random,
just a random one. We can't keep just going straight to like Manchester United and Arsenal. That's what I've been trying to steer it away from it.
And yeah, that's literally what you just did.
Yeah, I know, but I was trying to be more casual about it, just a bit more. By chance,
what point
watched the Man United Arsenal game, and you never want your team to lose. But I wasn't too disappointed with Arsenal in the way in which they lost, and it's been a bit kind of sour for a lot of Arsenal fans, myself included, at certain periods of the time, and it just made me think it's not just Arsenal that I'm kind of enjoying from at least from the start of this season, but the season as a whole. And part of that is, I think we referred to it last week or the week before about not knowing where certain teams finished. And I'm like, well, is it the strongest Premier League season, at least for as far as I can remember, which is usually last Tuesday? That's about as far as my memory goes. But no, it just seems like it's a pretty strong season. We look more at the relegation battle, and I thought, oh, Norwich is shit. And I realised, oh, actually, they're on the same points as the two teams above them. They've got 2 wins. So my question is this the best season in the history of the Premier League?
I mean, what, we're a third of the way through?
Well, look, you said you was going to do this thing about it's early, but I think that's part of the beauty of it, is that like usually there's maybe 2 or 3 teams vying, or 2 teams vying for a Premier League, look one area and then someone else wins it. And same for the relegation battle. But I think that adds to the beauty of it, because yes, it is early, but it's still kind of like, it's still competitive pretty much from top to bottom. And I'm hoping that's going to be
what makes a good throughout. League, then? Is it all about competitiveness? Is that what makes it such a good league?
When I watch or see certain fixtures, and I'm not, say, disappointed by watching Crystal Palace versus Watford, that makes it a good season for me. When it's not just surrounded around watching the bigger teams. The only team I've not really watched this season is Norwich, and based on their 2 wins, I feel like I should start watching them. But I'm just enjoying watching football.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like last season and this season are quite similar. I think a lot of the teams are very similar. It's only a year apart, but I think we had 3 years
languishing with Lampard, weren't they, this time last year?
Yeah, I would disagree with that.
Well, in terms of strength, I'm thinking.
Well, it's either stronger or weaker. It's like one or the other.
Yeah, but I don't think there's much in it. I don't think it's like significantly stronger. What I think we've had is, before last season, we had 3 years of runaway winners, and we had 1 year where Liverpool and City run away, 1 year where City run away, and 1 year where Liverpool run away. And it was like they made the rest of the league look so bad. So I think because we don't have the top 1 or 2 teams running away, it's made the rest of the league seem stronger, because they're obviously dropping points, like West Ham beating Chelsea, who are the current leaders. But yeah,
well, no, but City's the current leaders now.
Oh yeah, I'm going off last week. But yeah, I don't know. Is it stronger? I think you split the league into like 3 sections, don't you? You say who's the top 6? Is it the strongest top 6 we've had? Is it the best?
Who's your top 6?
Yeah, I wouldn't split
the top 3. But who's the top 6?
I'd say the traditional top 6 will finish top 6 this season. I think West Ham are there or thereabouts, but the traditional top 6 makes 6 of the 7. So it's not like that. When we say top 6, we mean City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United, Arsenal, and that's that. Other than West Ham, the rest.
Yeah, but that's like the traditional top 6. You're talking like the big four where Arsenal was in there. Arsenal haven't been part of this, like the largest section of teams for a number of seasons. This is about as good a season we've had for a number of years. So that's why it's better for me. Like, it's not the fact that, all right, it's looking like what it does year in, year out. The last few years, it hasn't looked like this.
I think the problem you've got is recently we've had last year, which was the year after COVID, but there was horrible fixture congestion because the league had started late and everything else, and there were still COVID cases and stuff like there are now. The year before that was actual COVID, so there was lockdown, so half the games were behind closed doors, so that didn't count. So you have to go back 3 or 4 years before you can start comparing to a proper season again. And even now, is this a proper season that now we're going to start seeing COVID cases come out again? Probably not. So I think there's a recency element to it for sure. That's making you feel like it's the first competitive one we've seen in a few years, because it is, because it's the first normal one with fans back.
How are you going to say like it seems like it because it is? I mean, you've just agreed with me while trying to disagree with me at the same time.
It's more the fact we're 15 games into the season, and actually most leagues look competitive after 15 games. It's the Christmas actually separates a lot of the bigger teams to the mid-table ones. So when we say big six, the traditional big six, and then most recently you've had sort of Leicester probably is the one who's been in and thereabouts. So probably big seven. Come Christmas, when you get fixture congestions, is where those teams tend to separate from the rest of the league. When it's one game a week, the league usually is competitive. Come Christmas, there comes a separation. So.
Well, I mean, that's the whole premise of playing in a league. But take Newcastle for an instance, right? Because one of the things I thought about, particularly in Newcastle, is, and Danny, you asked during the week, why do I think that the league seems to be much better? And I just think that there's more attacking players and more quality attacking players than probably the league has had in a long time. Because using Newcastle as an example in their front three, or at least, you want to put Joe Linton in there, with Wilson and St. Maximin, they're not going to be, they're not Premier League top 3, top 4 type players. I don't know, maybe St. Maximin thinks he is. But they're still quality. They're still teams that they shouldn't be in relegation battles. Norwich, probably not so much, but they're in the same points as them. Watford, Southampton. I can't, like Southampton, for me, they're not even that bad of a side. I don't even understand why they're so close to the relegation battle. I mean, Brentford were good. I guess they're no good anymore. I don't know. Crystal Palace. I was really surprised by Crystal Palace, sorry, because for me, Crystal Palace is quality this season, but they sit in 14th.
I think what you're also seeing this year versus previous years is we have a lot of really good managers in the league. Like, I know Vieira may become great. I don't know. He is doing a good job, but I think Southampton are doing better than could be easily in a relegation battle. But I think Hasenhüttl's a really good manager, actually, and we'll get the best out of them. I think you're seeing some really good managers in the league, which is why we're probably seeing some good football.
I'd be inclined to agree, because I thought that, but I was like, why have we lost 5 managers so far? Or was it 5? We're up to 6 now? Or is it 5 still?
So we lost the Watford,
Newcastle,
Norwich,
Ollie at Man United,
Ollie and Norwich. Yeah. So
Villa.
I think one of it is the lower teams are taking more of a risk. So you're getting Gerrards, you're getting they're taking a bit more risk with their managers than going safe. Like, it's probably not the year for it's not probably the year for a Big Sam. I don't know if Hasenhüttl's a good manager.
I'm not so sure. Yeah.
No, I think like 10 years ago, Italian managers were the flavour of the month, and German managers, with Klopp being so good, Ranić being the best around. Tuchel. Yeah, I think there's he fits the mold. And
that's what's funny about Norwich, because I think they were like, we need to get a German manager. We're going to get the most German sounding manager, and think, all right, he must be, because he's like super German, and then realize he's probably the worst.
Yeah, and I do sometimes wonder if, like, you hear him and you hear like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. He's Klopp light, and then Yeah,
He's like the German version of Chris Eubank.
He's lost 9-0
football
twice.
goes in cycles. Like the type of football that's played goes in cycles. You know, we had the years of 4-4-2, then we had a few years of 5 at the back, and then there was the, you know, now's the years of, it's the time of pressing and you know, the 8-second, 5-second win the ball back. And the reason you're mentioning all these managers and Hasenhüttl gets mentioned and Pochettino gets mentioned is they are that gegenpress, the German pressing system that has been invented. They are all proponents of that. That's what they all play, and that's why they're all kind of rising to the top, because their style of football is what everyone wants to see and is winning and is doing well. So that's what's rising to the top. You know, the years when Mourinho was at the top and others was very different. It was all defensive. It was very different tactical styles of football. So I think that's why. And I think Hasenhüttl, I was really surprised he went to Southampton. When he was at Leipzig and won the league with them, was apparently going to go to Bayern. Like all the big teams were going to get him, and then he just didn't. Ended up somehow, I can't remember how, at Southampton. And yeah, his career is kind of stalled. But he was like just like Tuchel and Klopp, and his name was thrown around like those guys. They were all kind of part of the same school of managers that came along with the same philosophy. And I think that's why he gets talked about in the same vein.
Well, I think like with Chelsea competing for the top 3 as well, like we said earlier, Manchester City and Liverpool were pretty much neck and neck, or going head to head. What, for the last 3 seasons, maybe?
Yeah.
Chelsea and Tuchel coming into it and being actually quality, and they're sitting in third at this point. I don't know. I just think that, I know it's early, but I think we can still make a judgment on it, because what will it take then? Would it be like by Christmas, by Jan, by February? Is it the end of the season and looking back and thinking, oh, this looks tight, or I enjoyed this season, or there were more goals this season? What is it that for you will make it convincing whether this is a good or bad season compared to others?
Well, a good season for me. My value of good isn't the same as quality and strength. So good for me is a title race, a top 4 race, and a relegation battle.
Yeah. Which we currently have at the moment.
Yeah. And for me, I'm like, once you get towards the last few games of the season, there was one season, was it 2 years ago or last year, where there was nothing on the last day of the season?
Yeah, that is the worst. It's all about the last day of the season.
Was it one relegation battle, like one relegation
and it was unlikely or something. Yeah. So that's how I rate a good season. So in terms of good, I've enjoyed this season as well. I think it's the most hope in teams. Like, do you know when they talk about fans' hope for the season? I feel like there's a lot of clubs that are on the positive, like But
like, it's still early in the season. But for me, every game now for a lot of teams is so important. It's like 6-point swings here. The match we had against Everton yesterday, you know, it's always horrible to lose against a last-minute goal, but like that was just, I feel like that's such a crucial game for what could potentially be 4th, 5th, or 6th compared to the others. As soon as you drop some points and then the other teams don't, I feel like, I don't know, some teams could be pressing the panic button, maybe not.
So you know how I love my stats and data, and I love an argument based on stats and data. So when you asked the question earlier in the week, I did think I'll just have a look back and see if I can remember if there's any information out there, any data around some of the best league seasons we've had. And I know you're a massive encyclopedia of football, so you remember this very well.
No, yeah, I mean, you're going to tell me what I already know, but for the listeners.
But we were young. But Mark, you will probably remember some of this, particularly the United 5-0. But if you cast your mind back, there is if you hear the story of what happened in the 96-97 season, I think I was reading about it and I was like, this is mad. Like, how this season happened, I don't know. So Newcastle at Christmas had a 12-point lead. They'd just beaten United 5-0. They went on to not win the title, Man United did, but they went on to just miss out. And Liverpool, Arsenal and Newcastle all finished on the same points, just behind Man United. Leicester finished 9th, which was only 7 points above the relegation zone. There was actually only 2 points that separated 12th and 18th. And the 18th who went down, 17th, was Middlesbrough, and they went down by 2 points, but they were actually fined 3 points for the late cancellation of a game. They also had the player of the season in Ravanelli and Juninho, I think. They also got to the FA Cup final and the League Cup final and missed out on both of them. It was just a ludicrous thing. And I look at a season like that and just think, I don't know if we'll ever have a season like that again. But maybe this is that season.
Well,
I mean, that sounds exceptional.
The year we won the treble,
99.
wasn't there three Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man United could have won the league on the last day?
Yeah.
So we've had similar things. So we had 3 teams could have won it that day. Man City won their first title. Was it on goal
that
difference?
Aguero moment.
Yeah,
but that was on. Didn't they win it on goal difference? So like that's pretty close.
Against QPR.
But you said earlier, Chris, that you think it's like a really attacking kind of league and there's lots of goals and more. One, that's the style of football. But I look at some of the players, and this is really evident when you look at trying to pick a forward in fantasy football right now. Like there's no Agueros anymore. There
are, but they've classed them as midfielders.
They fucking put them in midfield, innit? It's
impossible. It's like Son.
Aubameyang is not a midfielder.
All right, Aubameyang's not. But Aubameyang's useless. He's got to show.
You're left with Ivan Toney, Dennis, or Pookie. That's like it.
Yeah, but this is or Antonio, who's a left back. So, but Son and Rashford and Salah and all of that, they're not number 9s. They're not out strikers. So fair enough. Like they've decided just to put number 9s as strikers. But even still, I don't think we got the caliber of goal scorers that we've had in the past. Yet there's still tons of goals. And I think it's more. That's why it's more team football orientated. That's why, like some of these teams, like Brentford, obviously being touted as good sides, Leeds, Crystal Palace. You know, obviously it's obvious to say Man City are a good team orientated football. Chelsea are probably the same now. But the mid to lower table teams. I mean, Watford's scoring left, right, and centre. Outside of Dennis, they're getting a few goals themselves. So it's just, maybe it's a style of football. Maybe it's a style of football making these players look better than they are. I don't know what the overall goal scoring is for the teams overall compared to other seasons versus their defence. Because I've never actually been convinced by this 3 in the back, 2 wing back types in terms of that's just pure attacking, isn't it? And you're always going to be liable for conceding goals. That was a classic. Like Conte brought it in, Pochettino brought it in. Those 3 at the back with wing backs. It's the style of football they play. If it's high press, then of course you want your wing backs high because you're going to win the ball back and you want to outnumber them when you're up. So of course it makes sense to do that if you're going to be a possession-based team as well, and particularly if you've got centre backs nowadays who are really good on the ball, who can ping passes. If you look at like random, Anderson for Crystal Palace, who's been missing the last 3 games and they've conveniently lost. You just think he's a nothing defender, but all the stuff starts with him. He does a Van Dijk, plays a 60-yard ball out to Zaha, and the game starts. Without him, they don't have that. So I think it depends on the structure, but I think the managers and the style of play is having a massive impact, more so than the players, maybe, in terms of the quality of player that we've got.
Yeah, well, I think we're by far the richest league, and other leagues are struggling. So
true.
The Liga isn't splashing the cash like. The German league seems to be doing all right, but like there aren't, the leagues are struggling. So I say the players just by default are going to be better quality. It was interesting. Zaha had an interview before the Man United game, and he was saying that his aim for Palace this season would be, come the last 10 games, have something to look forward to. And he said the last few seasons, we're not going to get relegated and we're not going to make Europe. So we've kind of not really tried the last few games of the season. So I do think one of the differences about using that term it is early in the season is because teams still have goals and they still have something to fight for. So that's why come end of Jan, when a team's like, well, we're not really going to go up the table, but we're safe from relegation. That we talk about teams being on the beach. So it'll be interesting this season how that pans out. So
well, I mean, Crystal Palace are closer to relegation than top 5, so hopefully he's not looking forward to getting out of it. But
they only won 1 in 5, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's because they're competitive anymore, isn't it? It's like
Talking of, it's funny you mentioned La Liga because. Oh, have I frozen?
No, you're good. What have we frozen?
You guys did freeze. I think I missed it. No, I was just going to say, because you mentioned La Liga, and I thought it just made me think about it, because we were talking about how this is a bit of a bizarre season and it's really competitive. Without looking, you might have looked already. I bet you can't name the top 4 in La Liga. You'd be sure.
Real Madrid.
Yeah.
It's not Barcelona.
No.
Atletico.
Just then 4th, yeah.
Yeah. And I only look at this because of gambling purposes. Is that? Oh no, I'm not going to get the other two.
With Sevilla and Real Betis. Anyway, the point is,
I was going to say Betis. Fuck.
it's early in the season. That's one thing, but also I think there's.
I don't know why.
I'm looking
I
at
hate this
Sevilla
early in
now.
the season stuff. I mean, I hate it. I don't know why. It's really like
That's exactly what
really
it's
irks me.
Everyone's got a purpose. Everyone's playing to their top potential. There's been no midweek clashes yet because it's still early in the season. So they.
But what's the point then? We might as well just do a freaking. What's that game with the managers game? You know, on PC, you used to love it.
Football Manager.
Football Manager. There we go. Football Manager. You might as well just do a simulation and just go to the end of the season every day.
But it was like
what's the point in having a season if we can't enjoy it and talk about it in respect to say it's just early in the season?
No, because you're comparing it to other seasons. It was like 2 years ago they were saying is that Liverpool team the greatest Premier League team ever?
Yeah. I mean, I weren't saying that.
People were like, they were before Christmas Day.
Not me.
And the main argument was, well, you don't know yet. Like it's early in the season. So
go season unbeaten, and then let's talk.
And yeah, we spoke about it before. Like there's certain tick boxes they needed to do, and that's the same here. It's like, is this the most competitive season? I'd say so far, yes.
For a while.
I think outside of City and Liverpool, I think every team goes in thinking they can win that match. I've to be honest, that when I see City and Liverpool, I'm like, they're going to beat whoever they're playing.
Do you think? You think Chelsea goes into one of those games and thinks like, we've got no chance?
No. I think West Ham went in against Chelsea thinking we can beat those.
Right.
I think West Ham goes against Liverpool thinking we have to be our best here and hope things go our way. And I don't think they're going with no hope, but I think Liverpool and City have beaten teams like mentally before they go out.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny you say that about West Ham and Chelsea, because that first half, West Ham looked like they gave them too much respect. West Ham looked like they did not want to win it, and I think they came in at half time. And Moyes went, "Have you seen these guys? They're literally not on it. They've made about 12 mistakes. Just pressure them, like give them you actually can win." And obviously they went out and they did. And I think more teams are giving. I think Chelsea and Liverpool and City probably do demand a bit of respect from a lot of teams, but if once they show that they're not on it in the day, then of course the team goes, all right, actually we've got a chance here. But you need a good manager like Moyes to be able to.
Seeing as you say it's too early in the season, we'll finish on this. What would be your hope for the rest of the season? You can say it for Man United, you can say it as the season as a whole. What's the overall hope? Man United win and then everyone else behind, or what?
Yeah, we win. We go on a massive winning streak. Do you know what? I went into the season thinking I don't think we'll win the league, but please be closer. And I think I said it on our first pod, was for United, even if we finish third, but we were closer to top than when we finished second last year, I see that as progress.
Do you mean closer by points or position?
Points.
Yeah.
So we finished second last year, but was nowhere near. We could finish third in theory this year and be closer to the top. And I'm like, I just want to see our team compete, and that's massively been dented now. But a little bit of hope with the new manager, a brilliant 30 minutes, and hope. So I'm like, that for me, that's what I want to see. I want to see us start going back up the league now. So.
I have a feeling, Mark, I don't know if you've seen United's next 12 fixtures, but if you look at United's
12.
I'm not sure if you've seen their next 30 fixtures.
No, let me read this out. This is United's 12 fixtures from now all the way up until March. This is who United are going to play in the league: Norwich, Brentford, Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley, Wolves, Villa, Burnley again, Southampton, Leeds, Watford, West Ham. That's their fixture list until March.
So
and then March you've got Man City, Tottenham, Liverpool.
Yeah, but Mark's saying he'd like them to go on a nice long run of wins. Well, here's a 12-game streak.
It's almost like they timed the sacking to go with
it. That is a ridiculous
crazy.
That's this new manager bounce. It'd be interesting because they say new manager bounces last 9 games, and I'm like, I wonder if it's because managers get sacked when the 9 easiest games are coming.
No, but that's a ridiculous fixture list. You don't normally get 12 games in a row without any of the top 6. I mean, West Ham are in there, but further down the line. But I mean, that's no traditional top 6 in there. That's amazing.
What about you, Dan? What do you hope for?
Well, hopefully Man United are going to go on 12 game unbeaten streak. I'm now thinking, how am I going to get Man United players in my fantasy team?
Don't do it.
What am I hoping for? More of the same, to be honest. I think. I mean, there's now rumours, there's now talk because the African Cup of Nations is meant to be in Cameroon, and of course, COVID basically started down there. So they're now wondering whether that's even going to happen.
Started in Cameroon.
Well, down in Africa.
You read the news?
No, you know what I mean. They don't want to. They're worried about doing a tournament in Africa, understandably. So
I feel like that should be concerned most years, but carry on.
Yeah, I think depending on whether that happens, it's going to have a big impact because I know it's only going to be for like 4 or 5 games, but if you lose Salahs and Mane's, you lose Mendy from Chelsea, you lose players like that.
Half of Crystal Palace.
Half of the Leicester team as well, and Didi and a few others. It's going to have a massive impact because you're going to get.
It will go ahead though. Like
it will probably. They'll probably move it.
They'll do it at Wembley.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure the FA will
no, they'll do it. They'll do it in Abu Dhabi or they'll do it in Qatar.
Yeah. And as an Arsenal fan who hasn't got that much jeopardy when it comes to the African Cup of Nations, like I'm hoping some of these teams get decimated. So it just makes it that more interesting for the ones that are kind of like in the middle or top up, kind of like upper third.
You look at Spurs, like even now, right? Spurs have now got, because of that game that was abandoned with Burnley because of the snow, so they've already got a game they're owed. But now, 7 or 8 of their team have now got COVID announced today, so they might not even be able to field the team, so they might have to call their game off. Then there's going to be more fixture congestion. Before you know it, there's going to be teams with 3 or 4 games having to play in a short span. If they're losing people as well, we're seeing injuries galore at the moment. Like West Ham's team's just been decimated, all of them. So I think we're in for. I don't think what we're seeing now is how it's going to end. I think there's going to be massive twists and turns in this.
No,
season.
But that's the whole point for me. It's like, yeah, it won't end as it is now, but that's it. It's like, what is going to happen? I have no idea. And even with the team that's going to win the Premier League, I think it's a 3-team race. I don't think Chelsea are quite out of it yet. I think for the top 5, what's this?
Of course they're not out of it. They were top last week.
Well, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And obviously they just lost against West Ham. I'm just saying they're not out of it, and I don't see themselves getting out of it anytime soon. And then even with the teams behind them for vying for 4th competitive and then relegation, I just think I would just want to see more competitiveness, and hopefully the African Cup of Nations, Christmas fixtures, all that stuff will help sort that out. And then by the end of the season,
this year,
and Newcastle to go down.
Yeah, Newcastle to go down. I'd love it.
I liked Newcastle till they became another superpower. So.
Yeah, until they became Arsenal.
I still like them because
we don't need another superpower. Because they're only going to knock our teams further down the league. So.
Yeah, whether it's this year or next year, and they have to come out of the Championship. It's happened now. It's unavoidable. But I like Eddie Howe, and I feel like the appointment of Eddie Howe has made it feel less like they're a super club and more like they're a club in transition. We've got a few years yet before they turn into.
I don't know. It's like Mark.
Well, they have to be cautious this year. They have to know if they're actually going to survive or go down, and then they can decide whether they're going to get a top tier manager and pay through the nose for them. Jude Bellingham's in trouble, or he was in trouble. We'll quickly touch this one. This week he made some comments. It was the biggest match in Germany, Bayern Munich versus Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund lost 3-2. Some contentious penalty decisions. Although I watched the highlights because I don't watch German football in its entirety. Well, two takeaways, and I'm just going to go on a tangent because I say what he did. But the 2 takeaways I had from the highlights, that's what I watched. One, I don't know if the penalty claims was that bad. I know that it's clearly they talked about this referee before the game, but I don't know if the penalty claims were that bad. And 2, this is why I keep losing bets against Borussia Dortmund. They look terribly defensively. Oh my goodness, I don't even know what to make of that. But it's a weird one. You think like a referee who has been match fixing in the past would be banned for life. So I'm quite surprised as to why he's been allowed to. And yeah, like they must have talked about it before, because even did you see Haaland's interview afterwards as well, talking about the referee?
Well, I was going to say.
Well, they must have. Bellingham was 2 years old when the match fixing scandal was
good memory.
was done. Yeah, so
like
obviously, and so obviously they have been told before. I have real mixed feelings about this. One, about Jude Bellingham getting fined. I almost feel like managers and players should get 2 minutes where they can say what they want, because I find it so refreshing hearing it. Whether I agree with him or not, I like hearing it. Like if I want to hear players moan a bit more. So I'd love that they wouldn't necessarily get fined like that, because otherwise we're just going to end up with boring interviews like we always get in
Oh, we
on
do.
Match of the Day. Yeah, we get it now on Match of the Day.
The problem with that is the reason he's been fined is for rightly or wrongly, whatever he said. Yes, this ref was found guilty of match fixing years ago, but he's insinuated that the ref is clearly fixing the match. And of course, if people just come out and say that kind of stuff, before you know it, like it brings these people.
Well, Danny, just like my ex-wife, once a cheater, always a cheater.
didn't know about your previous wife. Fair enough. But also, it's basically he's been fined 2 weeks' wages. I think he earns 80, 90 grand a month.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to these penalties, one of the fines is they're incremental, isn't it? The first one isn't going to be too devastating for them, and then if you continue to do so, it just gets worse and worse. I just never understand why referees in general are just. This guy was involved in match fixing. How could he be on reproach? How's that even possible?
So I did. I looked into it a little bit before this pod. During the match fixing scandal, he was one of the referees that went to the German FA to report there's match fixing going on, and they didn't. They dragged their heels. They didn't believe it, and it turns out he took a bribe and on one of the games or something. He wasn't the main guy match fixing.
No, the main guy was a guy called, what was his name? Robert Heuser.
So I guess what they've said is, well, he was one of the whistleblowers who was in it, and
he accepted a bribe of €300 he must be like a drug addict, a gambling addict, some kind of addict.
To be honest, he probably took it for safety, because it sounded like some Croatian crime scene. So it was like, I imagine
an offer he couldn't refuse.
Yeah,
he probably was held at knife point or something and told, just take the bribe.
Yeah. So because I read that four refs got together and said we need to report this. 2 of them had to for their own safety be like taken off, and I don't know if they went into hiding or what, but they couldn't ref again just for safety.
We ain't hiding now. I mean, it's not that far away.
Yeah, so
I always find it difficult. Like there's in lots of sports, you get this with athletes, right? So you get like in Australia, the cricket with that scandal where they were tampering with the ball, and then the people like Steve Smith and whatever, it's all just fine. They've had a year out where they weren't allowed to play. Now they come back, still the best in the world, destroys England every now and again. Like you think, well, hold on,
not this week.
How can that be fair? But then you get athletes and then you get some who just miss a drugs test. And then they're banned for however long, and then you get some who are actually doping, and they're still allowed back. It just seems to be there's no logic sometimes used in some of these things. And like you said, Chris, all right, even if he wasn't the main guy in the match fixing, he took a bribe in a match. He should not be a professional referee in the top league of that country. There's so many that would do that job. Why on earth would you do that?
Do you know what? He shouldn't. If even if they gave him a position somewhere else within the organization, you can't have him refereeing matches simply because every single decision he's going to make is going to be under scrutiny. You did it before, you'll do it again. So that's simply it. Like for me, it could be worse than that. It doesn't matter how involved he was in the scandal, whether he got forced or bribed, stuff like that. I just think surely, like, do you know what happened to the Italian officials? Isn't it because Italian officials did match fixing, didn't they, a few years ago?
What, when Juventus got relegated to the 3rd tier?
Was that referees and stuff?
I haven't got to that episode of Bad Sport. I don't know if any of you have been watching Bad Sport on Netflix.
No,
it's really good.
Started watching Sopranos again. It's really making me paranoid.
Episode 1 is headache NBA, not an NBA player, a college basketball player who should have gone to the NBA.
What, Len Bias?
I can't remember his full name. He was called Headache, and he used to have Headache on his thing, but it's not his real name. But yeah, it was like the first incident of point shaving in basketball. The second one's about NASCAR, and then the 3rd episode is the Juventus scandal. And the
Juventus one's bad.
Yeah, it's definitely worth. That it's a good documentary series.
What's it called again?
Bad Sport.
Bad Sport.
All right, I'll look that up. I like a good documentary like that.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about any of the games that have gone on so far. Just go to Results League.
I was going to say, I know we talk about Man United a lot, but there is actually reason to talk about Man United considering we've got a brand new manager. And first, like...
He did this last week.
No, this was his first game.
Oh.
Midweek, Carrick just beat Arsenal, and then it was his first game.
I mean, what? All right, what do you want to say about it?
Well, just wanted to say, first clean sheet of the season. Maguire all of a sudden looked like some superstar player again. And
You've not done this for any new manager. This is Man United specific.
Yeah, I'm saying for Ralph Rangnick, just a big shout out. I think really positive.
I think it's too early to say.
Well, I think the one interesting stat I liked, which of course everyone's going to jump on because we all talked about Rangnick's style and how could he possibly get anything across in 48 hours. But I think Man United won the ball in the final third more times than any team in the league of the weekend, and more times than a Man United team has since Alex Ferguson. So in terms of pressing and winning the ball back, they did something right.
Lovely. Thanks for that, Dan. Any other games? Let's go Results League. How about that?
Mason Mount's goal. Oh, that was class. Do you see that?
Mason Mount's goal.
Mount, yeah.
He's class. He's class.
Power for a side foot.
Oh, it's just.
I preferred the cross. I preferred the cross at the end, like
massive,
yeah. Because he celebrated like he meant it. I don't know, like he did not act like it was a.
I don't know. Do you know what? I don't know. I really think he might have seen him off his line. I don't know.
No, he's come out afterwards on Twitter and said on Instagram, and he said it was a cross.
Oh, fair enough. There you go.
But the way he celebrated was like, "Yep, I knew what I was doing."
He celebrated almost like, "Yep, I know what I'm doing," and also I used to play for them.
Yeah.
Mendy probably had the worst game of his life. I mean, he was at full.
He looked like an African goalkeeper there. Like he looked bad. He looked bad. He looked bad. He looked bad. Let's just do Results League and see where we get with that. Yeah.
Cool.
So I had one gimme and one throwaway. Neither worked out for me. Surprising. My gimme was what was it? Newcastle to beat Norwich 2-0.
You just picked the wrong Newcastle game.
Shocking. Norwich have decided to turn up and start playing in this Premier League. And they drew with them, didn't they? So that was a shame for me. 0 points. As soon as the red card came in, you just see it on your phone, you're like, this is not going to work out well for me at all.
Yeah.
Certain teams you can think they could go down to 10 men and they'll still thump Norwich, but Newcastle are not one of them. Mark, you went for Leicester to beat Southampton 3-1. Didn't happen. Danny,
what was that game? I think 2-2.
2-2. Another draw.
These were the midweek games.
Yeah, these were the midweek ones. Danny went for Liverpool to beat Everton. That was always going to happen, but the score was 4-1. No one can keep a clean sheet in this football season. Impossible. The next fixtures for the weekend, this was my throw up in the air one. Wolves to beat Liverpool, just trying to get some teams taken off of the ones that I need to. Wolves to beat Liverpool 2-1. Never going to happen. Never will. They did not.
Unlucky.
Superstar Divock Origi.
95th minute or whatever goal.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't going to win it. It was just going to be a draw. But
did you see Jota's miss, by the way?
Ridiculous. I mean, what are you doing? I think I saw someone tweet saying he's still a Wolves player, or he's like, he's got some friends on a team or something.
He is another one who just had a shocking game. Sometimes players go back to play their old club and they're trying so hard. It just doesn't work. That's exactly what happened for him.
It's weird seeing a score with Liverpool scoring one goal, isn't it? 1-0. You're like, that can't be right.
Well, they should have scored about 8.
But they're the type of games they need to win, isn't it? If they can't score and they just still get away with the win, I mean, they can't be.
Divock Origi, he's getting all the love this week, isn't he?
Yeah. Same thing with Man United, 1-0 against Crystal Palace. It'd be nice to see them lose. You went Wolves 2. I went Wolves 2-1. Didn't happen. Danny went Leeds to beat Brentford. They drew. Didn't happen. They're like the same team, aren't they? They're exactly the same
that was
team.
what I was hoping was my gimme. I had to get them off my list as well. It's a shame.
They're the same team. There was always going to be like, it's like that meme with Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man, and it'd be like, isn't it? Mark, you went West Ham to beat Chelsea 2-0. You fucking did it. Massive result.
This is why I don't pick home fixtures, because I was like, yes, I picked West Ham to beat Chelsea, and then you're like,
1 point.
what is the yeah? I should get more for that. It's like Liverpool. Oh, they just scraped by Wolves. You feel like they shouldn't get 3 points for that. You know,
didn't we say? I think we said last year, and I never did it. We need to look at the rules. I think we said we were going to look at underdogs and look at scoring, and maybe if you're like bottom half against top half. But I don't think this would have counted because West Ham are in 4th. So I don't think.
I think that makes it too complicated because it's not like there's loads of points to be had in this game. It's just a bit of fun to make the fixtures interesting.
If you, for example, bet on Burnley to beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, you should, and they do, you should get a ton of points for that because, like, who's betting that?
This is Mark's game anyway, isn't it?
No, this is I'll have a think about the rules.
All right, good. Because this is a low-scoring game.
It is.
So I'm currently on 14 points. I've got to be careful now and stop messing around, although I'm about to pick a fixture where I'm messing around. Mark has got 11 points. Danny, 7. Keeping up.
Catching you. Coming for you, Mark.
Up. Have you guys got some results for next week?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Didn't expect that.
Almost like we're prepared.
Oh, my goodness. What's going on? We'll do it one day late, I guess. That's why, isn't it? Since we moved it to Monday, I feel like we're more prepared. Sunday was just like, I can't be asked with this shit.
Oh, no one does anything on a Sunday. No one's got time.
Yeah, I do loads on a Sunday.
Everyone can pretend to be working and instead be preparing for the podcast.
Well, I found on a Sunday, I was just aiming to watch the football by the pod. So it was like, especially if it was a big game on the Sunday, you'd watch that, and then it's like, all the admin around it, you wouldn't have time for.
So, Danny, you go first then.
Yeah, I am going for a rejuvenated Damari Gray-led Everton to beat Crystal Palace away. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
Can you say that again? Because I was looking at something else entirely.
Sure. Everton to win 2-1 away at Palace.
Everton to win 2-1 away from home at Palace.
Yeah, the Sunday afternoon game. Big game for Sky Sports. That what is Sky Sports playing at the moment? The last few weeks, their scheduling
Sunday.
So bizarre.
Yeah, well, you got Gerrard going back to Liverpool this weekend, and
why is it not on TV?
Yeah, Norwich, Man United are big game.
It's just really, and then Watford Brentford is on the Friday night. What is going on with this fixture? It's so bizarre.
Well, don't knock that fixture because that's
going to be goals.
Yeah, and that is going to be my pick for my results league. So I'll be watching that. And
who's the winner?
Well, after West Ham only get me 1 point, I'm not picking a home fixture again for the rest of the season. So I'm going Watford to beat Brentford away, and I'm going to go, as you said, goals. I'm going to go with 2-1 Watford.
That's goals. That's not goals. That's just goals.
That was my second choice, Watford to beat Brentford. I think that's a good shout.
Interesting. 2-1, you said, yeah?
Yeah.
Away fixture, yes.
Tony, even he's out.
Ivan Tony.
He's out with COVID, so big miss.
I am going for another big upset, a home upset. I'm going for Brighton to beat Spurs. I'm going to go 2-1 as well.
That's actually a brilliant shout because the game's either not going to happen or they're going to have about 4 players.
There you go. Thank you, Dan. Your approval means everything to me. The guy finishing dead last.
You wait. I'm coming for you. I'm one away win away from like being second. So chill out.
Join.
You know, well, you're one away, and then one away fixture, I guess, from being joint second. What about that?
Still being last.
Yeah, we got Champions League. Yeah, love it. Back. Then we've got the last fixtures for our Champions League draft.
I think I saw Man City just lost.
Hey, what's the game to watch tonight? What's the one, Dan?
Well, Man City losing to. I reckon they lose 2-1 to Leipzig.
Yeah. I'm trying to think which is the most interesting one. Which one's got the most?
Was it you that took out Leipzig from your last week?
Yeah, of course I did.
And not only did they go and win 5-0, they've just gone and beaten City 2-1.
Yeah.
But then they didn't qualify, so you would have lost the points.
Yeah.
Points there, isn't it?
I might go multi-screen, I think.
I think I'm going to go Milan, Liverpool.
Oh my God. Oh yeah,
That's-
fucking hell. What's Leipzig done? Oh,
So
Oh my
Milan
God.
Liverpool's history of being decent games, and also
yeah.
Milan had just gone top of the league, so in Serie A. So I don't.
I
think
think
they
I'm
got a
gonna have.
chance.
I think I'm gonna have Real Madrid versus Inter and Milan versus Liverpool on. I think
Yeah,
they're the
they're obviously the two good ones for tonight. I think. I don't know. Tomorrow, I'm trying to think who.
The Atalanta Villarreal one's quite interesting.
Yeah, Chelsea will rest players because they're through. Juventus are through. They'll rest players.
Benfica, based on the
Bayern,
Barcelona
Barcelona.
game. Yeah,
Barcelona are fighting for their life.
Will rest players because Ranić came out and said he wanted to pick Phil Jones this week, but realised he wasn't part of the Champions League squad.
Oh my God.
So he couldn't pick him. So
Amazing.
if that's an indication of where he's looking to pick the team from,
Yeah,
Well, Danny's young boys might actually get a win.
they might do. They might. Well, they beat United last time, didn't they? No, I think Bayern Barcelona is the tie because if Barcelona lose, they probably don't even make it into third place. They'll probably get bottom of the league of the group.
They're going to get smashed, isn't it? They're going to get absolutely smashed.
They might do. But the only thing is Bayern are through, so they might rest players. So maybe
I
not.
don't know what. I have no idea what Bayern's depth is like.
I mean, pretty strong.
Yeah, but you'd like to think Benfica's going to get a result against Dynamo Kiev. You'd like to at home. They need to.
I think.
Yeah, there you go. Anything else? I think the only thing we got left is front three, back four.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
I'll go first because I've forgotten one, so I'm just going to go and pick another one if that's all right.
Sure.
No,
Go while you do that.
yeah.
I got this. In my front three this week is white privilege. White privilege is in my front three this week. It's normally a bad thing, but this time it's a good thing. No. In my back four this week is white privilege. That makes more sense.
I was going to say.
That makes absolutely more sense. What have I done? Put it in my front three. How racist of me. White privilege is in my back four this week because a 10-year-old is set to retire at the age of 15 because of her fidget toy making. So she's got a young girl named Pixie Curtis who made some fidget spinners and have made some toys. And she's earned over 200,000 Australian dollars. I mean, if that's not white privilege, I don't know what is.
Well, first of all, she doesn't have a double-barreled name, so I'm not sure how you can say she's.
Well, because I don't have a business and I don't have six-figure take-in from no business I don't have. And I'm black. There's no other reason, is there?
I didn't realize this was becoming.
She's a 10-year-old. How can she be earning $200,000? She's 10 years old. You're telling me there's another reason?
Hard work, ingenuity, smarts.
You don't know. You don't know.
Wages.
Yeah, you don't know. You haven't lived my experience, Dan. You've got no idea. You've no idea how offensive this is to me. Shocking. Why don't you give that to charity? How about that? This is all in jest. Yeah. She's done a great job. Well done, Pixie.
That was why it was in your front three.
That was why it was in my front three, and I realised that didn't work for the joke. So I had to flip it around. But that's okay, because my back four can always also be my front three, because in my front three this week are con men. Most namely, anti-vaxxers are in my front three this week, because an Italian anti-vaxxer tried to use a fake arm to stop his COVID jab. Did you have that?
That's my... mine.
I thought for sure, Mark, you were going to pick Boris, PD Plod.
Oh, yeah. But apparently that's the just the filming for the new Line of Duty. That's,
what do you want? Do you want it or do you want Boris?
No, go on. You can go, Chris.
Right. Okay, yeah. So an Italian person tried to, in his mid-50s, tried to dodge his vaccination by using a fake prosthetic arm. Didn't quite work out for him. He was reported to the police for fraud. I was like, how many? If you said someone tried to use a fake arm to get their to dodge their vaccine, Italy's going to be up there in one of the countries where this guy's from, isn't it? It's going to be like Italy, maybe a guy from America, Florida, namely.
Florida man.
Scotland, 100%.
Well, he's a dentist, so I hope he won't using that arm to replace people's teeth or anything. You're just lying in the chair and see this.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny what the lengths of some of these anti-vaxxers will go for just not to get it. There you go. It's funny. I guess. Well, I don't know what they're doing in Italy if they're being oppressive as well and stopping people.
They are. That's why he did it. He said he wanted to just get the pass because he couldn't go to certain shops, and he was like, he don't want the vaccine, but he's not allowed to do certain things. So the nurse was saying that she didn't really think much was up, and then she held his arm and looked at his arm and was like, oh, this is the wrong color, it's a bit bright, and it said the arm was made of foam. So it was like she was so suspicious, but she was like, I've just had such a boring life. She was like, nothing like this could really happen to me. So it sort of took a while for it to sink in before she was like, actually, this guy's coming with a fake arm to get the jab.
Did she jab his arm?
I see. They never mentioned that bit. How far she went.
I really want to know if she jabbed the arm, and that's when she found out. Because like when I've had it, they don't even look like it's like you lift up your t-shirt, it does that straight in.
Yeah.
So,
well,
but I mean, I feel like they would know by the texture of your arm and your skin and stuff. It's like it's not that hard to not see a fake arm. Like,
or when they wipe the antibacterial wipe before it just discolors.
Yeah, and some of the paint comes off.
Yeah, it's like burns a hole.
It doesn't say whether he went through with it, so
I'd also like to know, like, in terms.
Oh no, Danny, he died of COVID. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'd like to know how muscly he got it as well. So, like, if he
I just imagine him with one of those mannequin arms, isn't it? The mannequin arms in the shop.
Thinking a mannequin
He's tucked it in, He's tucked it in, and he's got a little hand just like that. Hello.
Yeah.
But, his arms like that.
Doesn't bend at the elbow. It's just like, just squeeze your hand. Just squeeze that. Not doing anything. Danny, Mark, who wants to go?
I'll go.
You go.
I'll go, and then I can take Mark's other one, and then he's got.
Yeah.
Oh, go on then. Do it, please.
I definitely won't. They're just. I'm trying to.
My top three this week is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
No, I know you don't want me to talk about that, so I'm not going to. I'm trying to think a bit more out of the box.
You're only not talking about it because it's been crashing. Like,
yeah, it's already back up.
Danny's thinking outside of the box for front three, back four. He's talking about football outside of the Premier League. Come on.
Well, so I tried to stay away from football, but there was a very good football story. But my front three this week is tattoos.
Oh, great band.
Football related, but in Brazil last week, Atletico Mineiro won their first league title in 50 years. And do you know what they did? They offered all of their fans free tattoos. And do you know what the fans did? They turned up in their droves, hundreds of them, and they all got tattoos for free from the club. What was really nice, that I really liked what they did, is they said, so they're 1 in 4 designs. I think they're called the Roosters. So most people got like a rooster or the club badge or whatever. And they had like 30 people lined up ready to do tattoos. So they had it all properly done. But they asked everyone that got a tattoo to donate 1 kilogram of food to a food bank or a charity to help in the local area because they come from quite a poor place in Brazil, which I think was a really nice touch. So there are now hundreds, if not thousands of people, Atletico Mineiro fans who not only celebrated their first league title in their lifetime, also now have tattoos and are feeding the poor. So yeah, that's my front three.
You've made that really difficult to make any jokes about that. So go to your next one.
Well, it's a good news story. My back four this week is maple syrup. I don't know if you saw.
Overrated, underrated. Hold on, before you start. Overrated, underrated. Maple syrup.
I don't like it at all.
It's horrible, isn't it?
I like it, but not more than honey. So
honey's way better. Honey,
yeah, there's
golden really syrup is king.
Well, maple syrup is in my back four this week because it is in short supply. So Canada are the world's largest exporter of maple syrup. Ironic, not. They actually account for 70% of all the maple syrup in the world. And funnily enough, half of that goes to America. Who knew? But there is such a shortage of maple syrup this year, they've had to go to their special reserve banks to be able to fulfill the orders. And they're worried they might not have enough because there's so much demand for syrup. And when they were quizzed about why, the big company that provides all the syrup, they said, well, because of COVID, so many more people are at home and cooking, that the demand for maple syrup has gone up in America. And what's more is they had a really bad harvest this year. They had crappy spring, so they couldn't really get a load more. So Canada are running out of maple syrup, and they don't know what to do about it, because that is a massive export. So big problem.
They must have made so much money.
What, off of maple syrup?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're the biggest export.
They're biggest export.
Yeah, but they're selling out. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Running
I
out of
can't
maple-
keep up with
but
demand.
I think there's something like 50 million litres they had to get of surplus because they were running out. They're in their reserves.
You know what? That makes me think that there must be something. There must be at least 10 other things that are running out. Like, we're in danger now. That's really made me worry because.
Will, have you seen your electricity bills recently?
I mean, food. I don't care about that stuff. I'm talking about food. Like, how can maple?
Loads of stuff is in short supply.
Well,
There's massive supply
Mm.
problems all around.
Well,
the world.
actually, my back four was going to be a supply problem, but I don't really want to do it now. But I'll do it anyway. And mine was the microchips. I know it's been an issue for like over a year now, but Halo come out this week, and I've been wanting to get an Xbox for a while now. And Halo's come out. It looks amazing. It's got great reviews, and you still can't buy an Xbox anywhere. Xbox and PlayStation 5 came out over a year ago. They blame
That's
COVID.
crazy,
I
innit?
think COVID gets blamed for everything. Like, but there's also a chip shortage, which means there's short supply. Like, secondhand cars are now gone up in value because it's so hard to get new cars. Like Xboxes are, they're all on eBay for twice the price, same as PlayStation 5s. Apple are saying they're struggling to get enough phones out. You're like,
All the kids this Christmas will be getting wooden yo-yos.
Yeah, wooden horses. Yeah.
yeah. Although the price of wood's gone up, so
Oh, fuck! It's
Yeah.
never ending.
True.
timber's at like 4 times the price of last year. So,
Bricks are like 3 times.
and Danny, you picked a good time to
Well,
do.
I'm having to wait 7 months for a car to arrive. It's probably going to arrive with no USB ports and no charging capabilities because they haven't got the chips.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build a house and I've got no bloody materials. It's an absolute nightmare.
Have you not
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
car for 7 months?
Well, I'm part exchanging mine, so I've got mine until then. Of course.
Oh,
But
right.
no, I've had to wait. I have to wait 7 months for it to be delivered.
So that's it. Danny's got to wait 7 months for a car. I've got to wait for my new Xbox. These are the real problems.
Why is that
The maple syrup? This is what I said. Maple syrup, Dan. There are many things worse than it. Outrageous.
I've got-
Shocking.
I've got almost 2 weeks off of work over Christmas. I just want to play some Xbox. I'm just like, yeah. So I can't. My front three this week is boxing. So I don't know if you've seen.
I feel like you're about to laugh.
Yeah. Well, there's a major boxing fight coming up this
Don't
in the
even
next
know what
couple of
it is.
weeks. So Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley, the rematch. So, so it was meant to be Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, and Tommy Fury is now pulled out. So I was actually looking forward to that fight, and I thought there's no way Jake Paul's actually going to fight him because, like, Tommy Fury is actually a boxer. I know he's on his way
Well,
up,
supposedly.
but he was a boxer before he went.
Yeah,
up.
he is. He does actually know how to box.
What's his record?
Yeah.
Apparently, he's not got a very good record.
Well, it's because no boxer does in their first 4 fights. Like
No
they always,
boxer in their first 4 fights.
yeah, like he's beat them all, but he's just fighting nobodies like all boxers. But he is actually brought up as a boxer and trained as a boxer. So I was thinking, don't know if Jake Paul will actually fight him, but it's actually Tommy who's pulled out now. So yeah, it was in the contract if he lost, he had to change his name to Tommy Fumbles, and they were like they're so confident. They were like, there's so many stupid clauses that we just signed in, we didn't care. And the Furies are quite funny. BT had to, I don't know if you saw the press conference last week. BT had to apologize for Big John Fury's rant. So Big John Fury is Tyson and Tommy's dad, and he should not be on TV. He's been on BT while Tyson's had this revival, and you can tell he's doing his best not to lose it. But then during the press conference with Jake Paul wound him up and he lost it, and he was like, "We're going to knock you out and then grab your girlfriend, bend her over and fuck her like a dog."
Oh.
Is that what he's saying?
Wow.
On BT, so
Oh.
Yeah, so
Oh my god!
he's not even the one fighting.
I know. I was going to say you can't say that. If you're the fighter, maybe you shouldn't say it. But like, you can only say that if you're fighting. Yeah.
But
You can
the
only
thing
say-
with the Furies is there's clearly an order of authority there, because Tyson and Tommy, when he says it, are just like, it's like cringe. They're looking at their feet. Like Tyson turns away. No one there says to Big John, "Hey, you shouldn't have said that."
that didn't it?
Yeah, and
Not that I would
so-
know. I didn't grow up with one.
so the reason it's in my front three is because I felt sorry for Tyron Woodley. He lost to Jake Paul in the first fight. Jake Paul said, "I would only give you a rematch if you get a tattoo saying I love Jake Paul." Tyron Woodley got the tattoo, and then Jake Paul went, "Well, you took too long to get it. I'm not fighting you." So Tyron Woodley was there he's still in training. He was like, I've got this tattoo on his hand saying I love Jake Paul, and Jake Paul won't fight him. But now Tommy's pulled out. Tyron can actually get the rematch. So
If he loses twice to him, that would be so embarrassing. I mean, the first time.
when he got the tattoo, I couldn't believe it. I was like, so Jake Paul was like, "You get a tattoo with I love Jake Paul. I'll fight you." And then he
But
actually
I mean,
got it. It's like,
he could get it tattooed over. You know, he's got enough tattoos anyway.
I know, but it's just the point, and it's just like, just shows, yeah, like the power Jake Paul has over him.
Well, so deal's a deal. If you say you got to give your man your word, innit? Like, or maybe he's just.
I
so
can't
desperate
remember what he
for
said.
money.
He said there was a couple of things. He was like, one, it was the tattoo was too small. Two, it looks like it's been designed in a way where he could easily change it to fuck Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And so he was just like, "I'm not fighting you." But luckily, Tommy's pulled out now. So 2
I wonder
weeks.
if that was the plan all along. Interesting.
I don't know, because like for Tommy, he was like, it's a big payday, easy win, whatever. But now he won't even get that fight again. So
There you go. Right. That is All Talk FC. Lovely. We will see you next week for more football talk, maybe. Got a lot of stuff going on.
We might talk about football next time.
Hopefully, that'd be great. Some actual football matches. And then maybe we'll have a break during Christmas. Who knows? Or we'll do more. Who knows? All right. See you later. Bye.